Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another insane, crazy episode of the Chaos Theory Podcast. If you don't know by now, you ain't been paying attention. My name is Mr. Chaos. So today, I'm very fortunate enough again to have a guest with me. He's somebody that I'm just learning about, somebody that got put onto my radar by a mutual friend of ours who shall remain nameless. But this guy, I watched him in a feud with a blood hunter, and he's been kicking ass and taking names. And I'm telling you, if there are promoters watching or anybody watching and you need up and coming talent, my guest tonight is the guy that you want to put in your ring. Everybody, welcome into the Chaos Club, Mr. Paco Ortega.
Hey, what is going on, baby? It's Big Jerk Only himself, the Pac Ortega. What's going on, brother?
What's up, big dog? How's your day?
It's going good, man. It's going all right. What about you?
You know, just another day living the dream, trying to take Chris Van Vliet's spot, you know.
Man, that's what's up. That's what's up. You're already on your way there, I'll tell you that.
Hey, we working over here, baby.
Yes, sir. All day, every day.
So, first time on the show. I like I said, I want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving us a little bit of your time. I want to start with, where did Pac Ortega come from? Your wrestling background, your history in wrestling. Was it something that you watched with your family? How did it affect you coming up?
So, the way I got into wrestling was a little different than most people. I know, especially like a lot of my peers, everybody is always like, yeah, I watched wrestling growing up, yada, yada, yada. I watched Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era. That wasn't me. I didn't even know about wrestling whenever I was a child. I was big into comic books, actually. That was like my thing as a kid, was just comic books. I didn't know anything about wrestling. And it wasn't until the summer of 2011, I had just moved back to Missouri. And we had gone to the mall, and we were shopping, and we was back to school shopping. And I was like, again, in middle school. And we were done. Me and my brother, we were done shopping. And I have sisters, so they were girls being girls when it comes to shopping. And so my dad just looked at my mom. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take the boys. Well, y'all just let us know when you're done." And so he took us to GameStop, and he was just all like, "All right, so check it out. I'll get you guys a game, only if it's in the clearance bin." So I was like, "All right, cool. I'll go look, see what they got." And so I'm going to the bin. Next thing you know, lo and behold, I see SmackDown versus Raw 2007. And again, I don't know nothing about wrestling. I just see, this badass picture of Triple H on the cover. And I'm just like, man, holy crap, this looks dope. And so I showed him my dad, and he's all like, wrestling? What you know about wrestling? I was like, absolutely nothing. But this looks pretty cool. I want to try it out. And you said it's in the clearance bin, so I want to get it. And he got it for me. And whenever I got home, I put it in. I just could not take it out. I couldn't take it out. I was always on that game. I was always up late at night playing it. I just could not stop. It's such a fun game. And so then this wild thought appeared was, I wonder if WWE still runs. So I look it up, and sure enough, Monday Night Raw, I tune in. But I just kind of have like this culture shock because, again, it's 2011, but I was playing the 2007 game. So I tune into this match. I believe it was either the Slammy Awards or the week before the Slammy Awards. I just remember seeing Cody Rhodes versus Daniel Bryan on the screen. And from there, I just got hooked, and I just kept going, and that's where my love for wrestling started.
Yeah, I mean, we all come across this crazy ass business in different ways. For me, it was my grandma watching tapes, like old school. I'm talking like 60s and 70s tapes. I'm a little bit older than you, so I go back to even before the Attitude Era. I remember when it was like freaking Aldo Montoya and Duke the Dumpster Drosy and, these ginormous characters that at the end of the 80s just weren't doing anything. WWE was down, and then WCW came along. So that's really my height of my fandom. So when did you decide that this is something that you wanted to jump into? That wrestling was something that you were interested in kind of making your way of life.
In all honesty, man, like literally as soon as I played that game, it was just that was it for me, because the thing is, whenever everybody first watches wrestling and gets into it, their first thought is, man, I want to do that. And there's one of two things that happens. Either one, you grow out of it, or two, you go through with it, and I fall in that category of going through with it. So, and plus on top of that, I'd always been a performer. I'd always loved performing. In high school, I was in marching band, indoor drumline. I acted a little bit for film class. I absolutely really wish I would have done theater, but unfortunately, I didn't have the time. So, just performing in general has always been something I've always really been into. So, and plus, I was always pretty athletic too. I was always playing soccer, and I ran varsity cross country and track all 4 years of high school. So hey, they tie hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did you get your training from? Where did you break into the wrestling business?
So, so I graduated in 2017 of I graduated high school, and I grew up in Missouri, and so since I knew this is what I wanted to do, whenever I was looking up schools, I initially looked up in Missouri, and the only school that popped up was Harley Race's school, and it was about a good 2.5 hour drive. And so what I did was I attended this week long camp because I mean, even though you say you're gonna do it, you don't know what it's actually like. You don't know what you're actually getting yourself into. So they had this summer camp. It was 1 week long. New Japan was going to be there, Ring of Honor was going to be there, and WWE was going to be there. And so I was like, okay, you know what? There's a portion for the advanced and beginners. We're in the same camp, but we're split off. So you know what? I'll join the beginners. And since it's just a week long, there's no actual commitment. It's X amount of money, so I can definitely save up for that. And I'll just go see if this is actually something I can do. And so that's what I did. I saved up. I worked 2 jobs every single day of the week. I had no summer vacation after high school. No vacation. Every single day I was working 8 hours a day. On top of that, I still found time to actually lift because since I was a runner, I was really, really skinny. So I was in the gym every single day. And so then the camp finally came. My dad drove me all the way up to Troy. That's where it was at. Again, I think it's right outside of St. Louis. It's just about a good 2.5 hours away from my small town. And man, that was the first time I stepped in a ring, and it was the greatest experience in the world, man. I know BRCD Bruiser from Ring of Honor was there. Some representatives from New Japan was there, and the Steve Corino from WWE was there. And so we kind of split up. So unfortunately, I didn't really get to work with New Japan and Ring of Honor too much, but I was working with the trainers at the Harley Race School, and they were just going over the basics of the basics, and that's where I first started. And then, fun fact: at the end of the week, that's when Steve Corino came and he ran promos. What really made me was like, I need to train full time for this. Was he ran promos on the last day, and I got up there and I did my thing. I talked my talk, and he was in love. He was all like, "Bro, like, do you do this like at all?" I was like you talking like a public speaking format?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "No," and he was like, "Dude, whenever you get the in ring stuff down, you already got the promo stuff down. Whenever you get the in ring stuff down, you are gonna make it somewhere." So it's like whenever Steve Corino from WWE tells you that, man, how can you not go after it? So I took a year. To kind of go to school, and then I finally moved here to San Antonio, Texas, and I started training with Rudy Boy Gonzalez at the Texas Wrestling Academy. But that's where I learned the basics. That's where I debuted. I started training March 2019 and debuted July that same year. And then about a year later, I just kind of felt like I need that. First off, the pandemic hit, so I put a stop on my training
Yeah.
and bookings as well. And so then I eventually transferred over to the Dog Pound Dojo, where I'm currently training at now with Rodney Mack, Thunder Rosa, and Rodney's wife, Jazz.
You talk about exposure to some legends. Harley Race Camp with New Japan, ROH, WWE. That is for a wrestling fan. There's no better set of eyes to have on you when you first start, right? Because excuse me, if you got something, they're gonna notice something. And then you transfer down here. You're training with Thunder Rosa, who is a fucking legend in the making. This woman, look, everybody who listens to my shit knows how much I put Rosa over because she's an amazing person.
She is.
They're getting ready to do a show August 20th for the Salvation Army, and that's a
I'm
charity
actually
that's
I'm actually booked on that.
hell yes. That means my daughter and I will see you in person.
Fuck yeah.
Um, it's a charity that's near and dear to Rose's heart. It's a charity that's near and dear to my heart. Um, there have been times that struggles have happened with me and my family, and Salvation Army has helped us. So the fact that she's running a show for the Salvation Army and all the pros or some of the proceeds, I don't know exact amounts, but the proceeds are going towards the Salvation Army says what kind of person she is. And then on top of that, she's busting her ass, just signed to AEW, running Mission Pro, running Dog Pound, promoting everything. This one, I don't know how she isn't like just traveling with an IV because she's got to be exhausted. And then you have Rodney Mack, who's been to the big dance. You have Jazz, who is a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer. No questions. That's got to be invaluable for somebody who really had a kind of a giant gap in his training because of the pandemic and stuff. So, how has having those three um, changed you and made you better?
It's been completely just eye opening because especially like with Rodney, and he just because he the thing that I believe separates him from most trainers is that he cares about you in the ring as well as outside of the ring. He makes sure that you're going good with everything that's going on outside of your life, and whenever it comes like the actual training himself itself, he just breaks it down. It's insane. Like it's the things that you don't even know exist that he brings to your attention that you don't even think about. You're like, oh wow, yeah, dang, what, man? It's just it's really crazy, and he just brings just a completely new outlook on whatever kind of style you're more into whenever it comes to your work. And that's from everything, not just doing drills, not just the wrestling aspect, also working your character while actually training, treating training as if you're actually performing. And then also on top of that, he actually knows his shit when it comes to like MMA, amateur wrestling, Greco. Man, there's just so much stuff. So he what I like the most is he incorporates shoot wrestling with work wrestling. Think shoot but work.
Yeah, yeah. I've been very lucky enough to talk to Gypsy Mac, Dulce Tormenta, Matty Rinkowski, um, a bunch of guys from the hybrid school of wrestling who have trained with Rodney Mack, and they've all said the almost the exact same thing to you. This dude is, it's like a goddamn treasure map when you're dealing with Rodney Mack. Is the impression that I get because this guy was on WWE TV. To make it to that level means that you are the shit. It doesn't matter if you get a push. It doesn't. None of that matters. The fact that you were on WWE TV for any length of time means you had something that giant ass company saw. Um, the one thing that I always ask, and I'm kind of interested to get your answer, especially since you're so young in the business. What do you think is more important, your in ring work or the psychology behind your in ring work?
Mm, I believe, especially with the way I've been trained, psychology is what really makes your match what it is. Because you can, I mean, obviously the style of wrestling has kind of changed. A lot of what you see on mainstream and on the independent scene is a little more different. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. You can, it's not really about how athletic you are. It's about, again, telling a story. what you're doing, does it make sense? Does it make sense for you to do that? Does it make sense for you to take a suplex, get up right away and give him a suplex? It's stuff like that that doesn't it just doesn't add up, and it kind of just takes away from not only you as a competitor, but just your move set in general, just what you do. If it doesn't make sense, then in my opinion, at least, it's eh.
Yeah, from somebody who's just a fan, from my perspective, it's the same thing. Like, and I have a military background. I've been in situations before and fights before. Wrestling is supposed to make you suspend your disbelief and make me think, a guy who's a combat vet, make me think, oh, they're kicking the shit out of each other without actually kicking the shit out of each other. So yeah, it's dope to hear you say that, because knowing why you're doing something makes a fan see you and latch on. Just doing the cool moves is cool, and I'll appreciate your athletic ability all day. But if you can tell me a story, this is why Eddie Guerrero is my favorite. If you can tell me a story and bring me up and bring me down and turn me all around and hate you and laugh with you all at the same time, those are the performers that I'm going to latch on to.
Yeah, man, because like I know, the person that like really like opened my eyes when it comes to how important psychology actually is. I'm sure you've heard of him. His name's Terrell Tempo. I wrestled him a while ago, and whenever we were talking about stuff, literally he would just say, "But why?" And I'm like, I, I don't know. So he really like opened my eyes in a lot of ways just by wrestling him, and he's just so good. So and then being able to be trained by Ronnie Mack, who's literally the same exact way, it's great.
Yeah, and having Jazz. So I haven't met Jazz, but I've seen Jazz, and I said this to Maddie Ronkowski too. Jazz is the smallest, scariest, but sweetest person in the world. But if you see her just walking around, I'm fucking terrified of that little woman. And I
Yeah,
said
yeah.
I said that with all due respect to a legend, but she's terrifying just walking around.
I can see why you can. Yeah, I can see why you say that. But Coach Jazz she's such a peach, the sweetest lady alive.
Yeah. So it's got to be dope getting kind of the different approaches in Jazz and Ronnie Mack, who are a little bit more away from the big national spotlight, and then getting the perspective of a Thunder Rosa, who's literally just turning her light on to the national spotlight. Training with Rosa, how has that been?
It's definitely intense. She's a very strong and powerful woman, and she's not afraid to assert her dominance and put her foot down whenever she needs to. But again, it's very intense. It's very intense. And she's very much along the same lines of how Ronnie and Jazz like to coach us, and stuff making sense. Laying your stuff in. If it doesn't look good, you're gonna know. And yeah.
Yeah, she's. I've been lucky enough to attend a couple of Mission Pro shows out in Buda, and man, I was there when she beat the shit out of Dave LaGreca. That was amazing. Um,
Yeah.
that shit was awesome. So, like I said, I could stroke Thunder Rosa's ego for the rest of time just because she's that cool of a person and she's that dope of a wrestler. But we'll kind of move on that from Rosa for now. I do want to ask you. I saw a match versus one of my former guests, Elijah Exotic Galindo, who you have this back and forth ass kicking rivalry with. Um, is that to date? Is that something where you're like, you know what? He's gonna kick my ass. I'm gonna kick his ass. How does that? Have you learned lessons from that rivalry? And then, are you looking forward to getting back in the ring and smashing each other's faces again?
With Elijah, um, it's kind of. insane because like I've got this philosophy that we're meant to fight forever. Honestly, it was just 2 years ago when we met. We were both breaking in at the same time. I'm at a show. I was supposed to wrestle somebody else, and then next thing you know, the promoter tells me, "Hey, that's being scratched. It's supposed to be the biggest match of my career at that time. That's being scratched. Instead, you're wrestling this kid from Seth Rollins' school. His name's Elijah. Have fun." I was like, "What?" Like I was offended. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And then we got in and we did the thing, and we've literally been doing the thing ever since then, ever since 2019. And I definitely don't think it's over by a long shot. I know him almost like the back of my hand because we used to be best friends. We were coming up together, we were breaking in together, and at first it was like a friendly rivalry, but they're like friendly competition almost. Excuse me. But then, the AWP kicked off in Uvalde and just switch flipped at me, and I got to look out for myself at the end of the day. So again, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to being in the ring with him again. I am looking forward to getting my hands on him again, to hurting him again, because that's exactly what I've been doing for 2 years. But only time will tell. As of right now, I'm moving on. And I can only hope he's moving on. I don't know. Is he talking about me? If he's talking about me, that goes to show a lot about who we are.
Mm. I'm telling you guys. So he had briefly mentioned just the AWP stuff, and I saw the promo. I can't remember. It was like a Falls Count Anywhere match or like a
Last
no
man
holds last man standing match. That's what it was. Dude, the fucking promo was insane. The promo, I sat there and watched the promo, and then I rewatched it, and then I rewatched it. I was like, this is really fucking well done, especially considering AWP is a independent, smaller independent promotion. This shit was amazing. Um, so if you guys are moving on, that's cool.
Yeah,
And
definitely for now.
I definitely want. Yeah, I definitely want to see where you guys' careers take each other. But should the time come and you both are in San Antonio or near, and the opportunity comes, I will definitely pay to watch you guys fight forever.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you'll be there for that because, like, I know growing up, whenever you like want to get in this business, you see the rivalries like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens,
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk, Daniel Bryan. You see these rivalries, the fight forever rivalries, and you think like, dang, like what if that's me one day, And you sit there, you think about all these possibilities, or at least I did. Think about all these possibilities of who it could be, how it would be like, and then it happens, but you don't even know it's happening. Because honestly, it wasn't until like a good 2 weeks ago until like it dawned on me like we've really been fighting since 2019. Holy crap. Like I basically manifested this way back in middle school, So yeah, I mean again, I'm moving on. I've had enough for now.
Yeah,
Eventually we'll revisit that, but for now I'm doing my own thing.
absolutely. Let's talk about another rivalry, another series of matches you had, and I mentioned him in the intro. Blood Hunter. Oh my god! Like I like when people get their shit in and they lay it in stiff. Jesus Christ, you two! It's like you guys have the same mind at the same exact time, and you're like, look, let's get after it. How was that feud, and is that still going on?
Um Blood Hunter, the devil himself. I like to call him the devil. Just man. Yeah, no, that's kind of what took me off, man. That match, that feud with the Blood Hunter I had for a minute. That's really what propelled me. And I just remember I just received an opportunity from SWE. Rodney was just like, hey, they want to give you a shot. They want to see what you can do, but you're going to be wrestling the Blood Hunter, so you got your work cut out for you. So as soon as I found that out, I was in the gym every day. I was making sure I was eating extra rice, eating an extra steak, you know what I'm saying?
Hell
So,
yeah.
and then, it happens. And like, I just go in there for a fight. I'm not just trying to wrestle. I'm not just trying to grapple. I'm not just trying to work. I'm trying to fight.
Hmm.
especially with how intense he is, and especially at the time he had that manager. So that feud, man, that was crazy. Because you saw the chair shot, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, the chair shot happened, and then I was sent to the hospital, and like the next day, because I didn't check my phone from the minute I left to the hospital. I didn't check my phone at all. Just I had to get taken home. My friends had to make sure I got in the shower. They made sure I was able to get in bed. I just had zero contact on my phone, and then I woke up, and it's like I got my sleep. I got my sleep. And I didn't wake up until like 2 in the afternoon. And I was like, okay, let me check my phone. And just message after message after message after message from fans, from the boys, from my friends. Like, yo, what the fuck just happened, man? Like, are you okay? Holy shit, they just told us that you went to the hospital. Dallas is rooting for you, bro. Man, are you good? Ronnie tried to get a hold of me too. And it's just like, nope, like, man, it was to really like see how that took off the way it did is, I don't want to say invigorating, but it was definitely like one of those, like, those are the moments
Hmm.
you get in this business for. And now when it comes to the Blood Hunter, the devil, I'm not afraid of him. I'll say that verbatim. I'll scream that at the top of my lungs at the top of his tower here in San Antonio in Texas if I need to. But from what my knowledge is, he's no longer working with the SWE, and he is now back in Canada doing his own thing. So
Okay.
maybe
Okay.
one day, maybe one day, I don't know. Only time will tell. But I will say, if that day happens again, I will not step down, and I'll definitely,
Absolutely.
I'll definitely get my receipt.
Yeah, y'all. If man, go on YouTube after you watch this, and then rewatch it. Go on YouTube and look up Pac Ortega versus Blood Hunter. Holy shit! Like yeah, just I can't describe it. Just look it up. It was dope. It's super dope. It's awesome. This is why I love the indies too, like the smaller promotions, is because I can tell you in this format, like, dude, I appreciate what you do. What you do is fucking dope. I can't tell that necessarily to a Hangman Page or the guys on the bigger promotion. But dude, I'm I'm a fan.
I
Um,
You have no idea how much I appreciate that, and that's another thing I also like about the indies is it's that more intimate feeling with the fans, and you don't even know it because essentially the mindset is you're going to different towns. No one's really going to know you going in, but they will know you when you leave, and you don't really understand how much of an impact you have. Like, I remember just a while ago, and you've outed it. I was working for the AWP show, and just this guy came up to me. He was like, "Bro, I've been watching you for such a long time. Like, you have no idea how much of a fan I am of you. I've been watching you since this match." I'm like, wow. I mean, I don't even remember that match happened. That's crazy, bro. Like, that's literally so insane. Thank you so much. It's stuff like that that you really like. This is what it's all about. That intimacy between wrestler and fan. So yeah.
yeah, absolutely. There's another match that I saw on YouTube that I want to bring up, and it was not necessarily broadcast to anybody. It was a showcase match at the Dog Pound Dojo. It was you versus Anakin Rosa. How is that for you, knowing one, he's the son of your coach, and it's your job to take care of him, obviously, but two, for you to be kind of the elder statesman in that match, that had to be a different position for you. How was that match working for you?
um, it was fun. you know, because I really like, people always ask, like, you never win, like, do you ever think about like the big moment that you'll get one day? And honestly, especially being in the position I am in my matches, in my heel work, I find more invigoration by helping somebody else get that moment, by contributing to somebody else. I mean, he won, just, I don't know if you saw the look on his face. He was,
Oh yeah.
oh my god, it's just for that, for me alone, that's the payoff in the end. And again, it was a lot of fun. The kid, he stepped up, because they told us. So they had told us a good 2 months in advance. They were like, "Hey, this showcase is happening. Plan for it sometime soon. We don't know when. So, but just know it's coming up. We don't know when, but it's coming up." And then literally the week before it happened, "Hey guys, so that showcase, it's next week." And so yeah, you're wrestling. Yeah, so and then he just something went off in his head, and he just stepped it up like no other. I mean, you saw the match; it was
Oh
very
yeah.
physical, and I don't want to say I'm some kind of vet, but I've been around for a while. I've wrestled some pretty good guys. I've been around a lot longer than him,
Hmm.
and I think that kind of, for him it was like, yeah, I need to step up. This is my chance to show what I can do with this guy. And again, it was a lot of fun, very hard hitting, very physical. I'm honestly so happy you brought that match up, because I think that match isn't, whenever it comes to like my gallery of matches, that match isn't brought up enough. You people always bring up my matches with Elijah, or my matches with Alex Arsenal, or more recently the Blood Hunter match.
Hmm.
But then it's like, wait, have you checked out this match though with this kid? It was his debut, and man, we if you want to talk about guys that went out there and beat the shit out of each other,
Yeah.
that's
Oh yeah.
what we did. And so again, it was just a lot of fun.
So it sounds like to me, and I could be completely wrong, but it sounds like you enjoy doing heel work rather than baby work. Um, and I've heard a lot of people interviewed, independent, famous, whatever, on all different levels, and it seems to be that people who like being the heel are supposed to be a heel. You're supposed to be that way. There's something inside you that says, I can get over. I can get my shit in by helping this guy get his shit in. So obviously you got Rodney and Jazz and Rosa, but aside from your coaches, who do you watch do the heel work and you're like, oh, I could steal that, or oh, I should never do that? Who do you take and pick and choose from?
So I actually watched quite a few guys, but whenever it came to like whenever it comes to like stuff I like to do, the way I like to portray myself, the way I carry myself, um, so you might know him. His name is Gino Hernandez.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, him, man, that guy. It's quite a shame, what happened, but I think like even before Dark Side of the Ring, it was like I was watching his stuff all the time. I was always checking out his work. It was, man, that guy is so good at what he did. So good at what he did. He was able to manipulate an audience like it was almost nothing, effortlessly. And I see a lot of myself in him. I mean, I'm Hispanic. I'm a little short too, So it's like for him to go out there and do that, it's like, man, like what is it with this guy? And sure to know it, I kind of see a lot of myself whenever I watch him. Because the thing is, like about me, like whenever I debuted, I started off as a face. Terrible. I was a terrible face. I couldn't do it. I went out there. I was like, let's go, and just nothing. So it was just like, what do I do? And then at the time, I was seeing this girl, and she was just all like, why don't you just go out there and just be you? You're a little, don't get mad, you're a little stuck up. You can be an asshole at times. You're very blunt. You're very straightforward. Why don't you just go out there? You don't care what anybody thinks. Just go out there and just don't give a fuck. And
Yep.
that's exactly what I did. And so then right there, it was just like, man, this works for me. This is what I'm comfortable doing. I don't give a fuck. If I need to cheat to get somewhere, I'll do it. If I need to take a certain advantage to get somewhere, I will do it. Not a shortcut, an advantage. And if
Yeah.
I need to
Yep.
do
Yep.
that, I will get there. So Gino Hernandez, number one guy that comes up. Also another guy that I cannot get enough of, Daniel Bryan. Yes,
Okay.
yeah, Daniel Bryan and Gino Hernandez, mainly those two.
Daniel Bryan, that's interesting. That guy's heel work. So Daniel Bryan, just from a fan's perspective, Daniel Bryan had gotten over so big that when he came back and he tried to do that environmentally friendly and I hate you because you're abusing the planet deal, it didn't work as well as it could have because fans love him. I mean, he got over ginormous. But for you guys who are watching, go back and watch Daniel Bryan and Ring of Honor. Go back and watch
American
his
Dragon.
stuff. His stuff versus Samoa Joe versus early CM Punk versus Tyler Black. Like, and if you don't know who Tyler Black is, you haven't been paying attention. Um, Go watch that. Daniel Bryan's heel work is fucking phenomenal. People just forget it because he's an amazing face too. So another thing that I bring up just to kind of get everybody's opinion on it is, the world of wrestling is changing completely. It's no longer just men versus men or straight wrestling, or there's shit is so different with the rise of GCW and the death match scene and the backyard scene. And now we're getting back into intergender matches, men versus women. Is that something you're open to? And is that something that you have women in mind that you would like to work with?
Am I open to intergender matches?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Um,
Haas Holding. I look forward to taking Pac on Saturday night and give him all the 60-year-old dude can give.
Probably won't be much.
Oh.
Anyways, so moving on to what's relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I open minded to intergender? Absolutely. I think I've always been a huge advocate for women's wrestling. Always. Um, that's why I applaud Thunder Rosa and Jazz on all they've done for women's wrestling, and even more people like what Mickey James is doing right now, what Maria Kanellis is doing right now. They're right now women's wrestling is really taking off in a lot of ways. These past few years, it's become a lot more in demand. And it's gotten a lot more respect than what it used to have. So, am I open minded? Absolutely. When it comes to women in mind, um, okay, is there a range I got to stick by, or
Indies, famous, doesn't matter. Anybody.
number one, if I were to pick, it would definitely have to be Sasha Banks. I mean, in my very, very humble opinion, I believe she's the best women's wrestler in the world. She's extremely good. Just her heel work. Sometimes I'd be lying if I said I never took a thing or two from her watching her heel work. Man, that girl can go. It's insane watching her wrestle, man. I mean, I'm sure you've seen her matches. Who hasn't? It's insane. And anybody else? Hmm. I'm not sure because that's not really something I think about. So like right now, all that comes to mind is Sasha Banks.
There is there's a performer named Genocide who performs with Mission Pro, and she's on NWA. That would be an interesting matchup.
She's a monster, all right.
She's fantastic. Shout
She
out
is.
Genocide, aka what I call Genocide is young Beth Phoenix. That's who she reminds me of, man. She's such a fucking monster. I'm such a mark for Genocide.
Yeah,
Which I
yeah,
know.
I know. I've gone to help. That's Thunder Rosa on the promotion. And whenever I've gone to go help out with the shows, like tear down, set up the ring, she was somebody that just stuck out immediately. Like she's one of those people that from the minute she steps out the curtain, just she grabs your attention immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you have coming up next immediately? I know you said we're talking about the August 20th show with Mission Pro. Not the first, but the first match since they rebranded as an all women's company. This is the first time that they're going intergender. So, besides that, where else can people see you around in the near future?
I've got quite a few things coming up actually. I know where I do the majority of my work, where I do probably the best of my work. It's got to be in ULD for Atlas Wrestling Promotion. That actually I'm wrestling there this Thursday. Is going to be Ascension because they're going episodic now. So every single month they're holding an episodic show in a more smaller venue than what they normally run in. So that's first coming up, and then after that, this weekend I'm actually going to be wrestling for Galactic Pro Wrestling, as you saw Mr. Haas so rudely interrupted us by saying that. And that's where I'm going to be at. And then the Mission show, I got another Uvalde show for AWP coming up called Purgatory. Please forgive me because I cannot for the life of me remember that date. I believe it's August 15th. No, that's wrong. It's coming up. And then also, I'm also doing a lot more work for SWE Fury. Actually, my partnership with them is still going strong. I got a great relationship with them. They like bringing me in, and right now I'm mixing it up in the tag team division with my new partner. His name is Edgar Garza. Super talented guy. I call him a hidden gem in Texas wrestling because he is so good. But they're teaming us together. We're the Misfits, and I've personally been wrestling a lot of the OMGs lately. That's been a feud. That's been my recent feud going on in this WE. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I will. And me and Edgar, we got something going on right now, so we're definitely ready to take those guys on and to continue going on. And after that, those really, I know AWP and SWE is the main places you can find me at the moment.
So Ryan was asking if that date was August 7th, the back to school brawl.
Yeah, August 7th. Actually, that's a double shot. So August 7th, that night is going to be Galactic Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
But earlier in the day, we are holding something for the kids. It's being sponsored by Texas Wrestling Reviews. Such an amazing guy for me, and he's basically holding it. The Dog Pound Dojo is going to go out and show out what we can do, and just
Hell yeah.
essentially do a meet and greet for the kids and put on a couple matches for them. So yes, that's a double shot that day. If you want to go to both, you definitely should because the back to school one that's for free. So literally, you got nothing to lose, and you get to see a great night of wrestling. And then later on that night is going to be Galactic Pro.
Yeah. So, man, Texas independent wrestling right now is on fucking fire. Like, absolute fucking fire. We have by far the best women's promotion, period. Mission Pro is the best women's, all women's promotion. And when I say all women, and Pot can attest to this, I mean camera people are women, the DJs are women. Setup and teardown are 99% women. Referees are women. Performers, dude, you talk about women empowerment, and as somebody who has a daughter that's huge for me, Mission Pro is the shit. Then you have guys like Little Pinche Wrestling, PPW. You've got Pele Pro up in Dallas. You've got, there's so much RCW here in San Antonio. You've got Hybrid School of Wrestling in San Antonio. I'm forgetting 8 billion promotions, and I apologize, but it's Texas and there's 9 million of us here. So it's a little hard. But Texas wrestling, man, right now is, you could do a loop of Texas and never hit the same place twice. That's how crazy it is right now.
It is. It's really
Um,
insane. Yeah, no, I think definitely Texas wrestling is the way it's taken off. It's definitely risen from the pandemic. I believe Texas wrestling is the first and the best place for wrestling to have stepped up from the pandemic era. It's really have stepped up even during the pandemic. Just put on content and good entertainment for the fans still while we were going through that dark period in time. Still kind of going through, but back then, whenever lockdown had initially happened. So, Texas wrestling over here, I think it's probably the best time to be a Texas wrestler at the moment because of how much opportunity is truly out there.
all right. So Haas said Galactic is expecting close to 500 in Castroville. That'll be a fantastic crowd. That's awesome.
Yeah, Galactic's been coming up, man. I know. I first heard about them back when I was training because Alex Arsenal, we were training together for a while, and he's Superman over there, and so I would always see his work over there, and I would always think, holy crap, that's the coolest thing ever. And then even now they're coming from the pandemic or they're stepping up. So they've definitely found a good place to run over there in Castroville. I attended the last Galactic Pro show to help. Man, it was insane. The crowd energy. They're just there to have a good time, man. They really are. So I'm definitely looking forward to beating Old Man Haas over there.
Yeah. Dude, that's going to be a 500 people. If you guys are watching and you don't understand, the crowds at an indie show are normally about 100, people, and that's a fucking phenomenal house for a show. 500 people, that is bonkers. That's insane. And Galactic is somebody that I apparently have to start watching and listening for, because apparently they're doing fucking ginormous things.
Yeah, brother, they're literally right down the road, man.
Yeah,
Right.
Castroville is right down the road from us. So we're talking about wrestling changing. I want to ask, aside from the intergender thing, which is dope that you're open to it, because you're right, women's wrestling is pew to the fucking moon right now. Um, Death matches, hardcore matches, like all these different styles of wrestling and different styles of work. Is there one that you see that intrigues you the most? It's straight wrestling, hardcore, death match, doesn't matter, whatever it is, tag team. Is there a style of wrestling, or is there a niche in wrestling that intrigues Pac Ortega the most?
Um, man, that's a good one. Dang. Man, you stumped me here, brother. You stumped me here. Um, I was always intrigued with Iron Man matches. I mean, I've honestly never been into hardcore. I'm not even gonna lie to you on that one, brother. I've never really been into hardcore. Um, I respect the guys that do it, because man, I couldn't do it. you know, but just the Iron Man matches. That's just holy cow. That's insane to me. 30-minute Iron Man, an hour Iron Man. I know. Even though it wasn't an Iron Man match, really just the matches that go from 30 minutes to an hour. Just those matches are the ones I'm like, wow. Like CM Punk and Samoa Joe. That's like Mark City for me right there, man.
Yeah.
I can watch that all day long and not get bored one time. So it's like really the longer kind of matches are what's always intriguing me. I've always really liked gauntlet matches too. I've really liked gauntlet matches. I really hope sometime soon I'm involved in a gauntlet match. But gauntlet matches are just they've always been something for me that because of how rare they are,
Mm-hmm.
that not only does it make it better, but it because of how rare it is, it just fucking blows you away every
Oh yeah.
single time. I've yet to see one bad gauntlet match. I think the first one I watched was with Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw. His performance that night, holy cow! And then Kofi Kingston, holy cow! It's just
Uh-huh.
gauntlet matches is just that's also another thing that's really intriguing.
Yeah, um, those different types of matches, hardcore, gauntlet, steel cage, hell in a cell, whatever these different kind of matches give you a chance to show people a different side. And now on the independent scene, they're doing cage matches on the independent scene. The first Mission Pro show that I ever went to was Allison Kay versus Thunder Rosa in a fucking cage, and it was the shit. And it made me that match. The whole card was fantastic. I don't want to take anything away from the women who fought on that card, but that match, I was like, why the fuck haven't I been watching indie wrestling my entire life?
Yeah,
What?
man, it's been crazy stuff, and then like I completely understand and resonate with you saying like those kind of matches bring somebody else out in you because I mean I just had a last man standing match with Exotic, our the last round we went, and man, I just showed a completely different side of me. I did things that I didn't even know I was capable of doing. I took things I never even thought I would be taking. It brought out a different, more vicious side of me. And I already like to think I'm pretty aggressive as it is. So just whenever that match had happened, and on top of that, I can't pin, I can't submit. I have to do what I can to keep him down. So it was like I went to town. I went ham on that man. Hopefully it'll be up soon. So you guys can see it. But I know first is going to be up on Title Match Network, and then after that, I like to wait about a good month or two before I put after it's released on Title Match until I put it on my YouTube. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys, if you're not watching Title Match Network, you're wrong. There's so much good wrestling on Title Match. Mission Pro is on Title Match, and you can, I think you can see every backlogged paper or backlog show of Mission Pro on there, dude. Like we said, Texas wrestling is blowing the fuck up, and it's dope to see it in such a good position. With as a fan, it's dope to see performers who want to carry it into the next generation, right? Like my generation is Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Razor, Undertaker. Your generation is, Cena, Rollins, Reigns, guys like that. That's where your generation. Um, but it's dope to see where you guys as performers are, and you're like, I can make this better than when I came into it.
Yeah, man. Because I remember whenever because I had no idea independent wrestling was even a thing when I got into it. I just thought, SmackDown versus Raw, WWE, that's it. And then I came across TNA Impact. I was like, what the heck is this? Like, what's this Austin Aries guy doing? Like, that's what Randy Orton does. What the heck? And then next thing you know, like I found out like there's wrestling outside of WWE, and so that's whenever I discovered Ring of Honor. That's whenever I discovered PWG, and then I was watching the guys that are wrestling in WWE now. I was watching whenever he was still Kevin Steen, whenever
Yeah.
Tyler Black, Kenta, Brian Danielson in his older days with the tapes. But it was like I was watching those guys, even Prince Devitt. Those are the guys that I was growing up watching also on the independents before they even went to WWE. So it's like man, growing up watching that, and then now I'm getting into it. I'm coming right behind them. I'm part of the class that's coming up right behind them. So it's like not necessarily to top them, but what can I do to stand out? What can I do to be different?
Yeah.
And I mean, I got some big shoes to fill, but I'm always stepping up to the challenge. But
I mean, you do. Texas wrestling is like Texas football. We don't play around with that bullshit.
yeah, we
It
don't.
we take it super serious in Texas.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
you were in the state, and I told this to Dulce Tormenta is from El Paso, and that city is known for the Guerreros. That was the Guerrero city. And I asked her, how is that weight on your shoulder? And she's like, it's a ginormous weight. It's something that I always feel the responsibility of. But at the same time, I can't focus just on the Guerreros. Like, yes, I want to honor them, but I have to do Dulce. I have to do me. And Texas is like that. We're going to tell you, if you suck, you're going to know you suck in Texas. But if you're fantastic, or you're somebody who is busting their balls and trying to preserve wrestling, you're gonna know that we appreciate you too. So before I let you go, we're gonna end up wrapping this up real quick. Where do you see yourself 5, 10 years from now? Where does Pop want to be in 5, 10 years from now?
The obvious answer that anyone's gonna give you is being signed somewhere. But for me, the goal was never really like WWE. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't take that in a heartbeat. Who wouldn't?
Yeah,
Like anybody who says they don't want to go to WWE is just lying. They're lying to you. They're lying to themselves. But my goal was always UK wrestling. I would love to go wrestle over there in Europe. I would love to go wrestle in the UK. I just their style of wrestling over there, I just completely resonate with. That's something that's me. That's what makes sense to me. That's where I want to be. That's where I want to go. Because again, that's kind of like the style I enjoy wrestling.
hmm
They do over there very technically sound. But also another place I would like to go, NWA. That's always that's always been a thing. That's always been somewhere I wanted to go. And then some point I would love, 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 love to go wrestle for Pro Wrestling Gorilla, because whenever I first was getting into the independent wrestling scene, that was like I was always on their YouTube page. I was always watching Battle of Los Angeles. I was always watching. Again, that's where I discovered Kevin Steen. That's where I discovered the Young Bucks. It's just like the guys that are wrestling now that I grew up watching. That's where they were. So
yeah,
I would love to go over there. So yeah.
that would be dope. PWG, y'all. If you're watching, you never heard of Pro Wrestling Gorilla, go watch when crowds used to chant, "Steen is gonna kill you."
Yeah,
Um,
because like I loved like how intimate it was.
mhm.
I love the intimacy because the fans would literally ringside. They weren't sitting down; they were standing up, leaning on the ring, on the apron, and that's just something I was like, that's literally. It's so simple, it's so small, but it's because of that that makes them different. And it's just like this is literally the coolest shit ever.
Yeah,
Like holy shit, it's so
yeah.
cool.
And some of the biggest names that on the international and domestic level, Jeff Cobb has wrestled in PWG. Keith Lee wrestled in PWG.
Yep,
Kevin
yep.
Owens, Sami Zayn as El Generico, the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, Roderick Strong, AJ Styles. Anybody
And the list goes
you've
on,
heard
bro.
of? Yeah, anybody you've heard of has probably had a stop in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. That promotion is it's the most insane, hard hitting, intimate. Like, look, I'll tell you this: there is a match with Keith Lee versus a young Ricochet, and Keith Lee hits Ricochet so goddamn hard I swear to God, it turned his mohawk a different color.
It's insane. It's insane. I know what you're talking about.
But the you're right. The crowd is right on the apron, and they're smacking the apron, and they're cheering, and they're loud, and they're fuck him up, Kevin, fuck him
Yep.
up.
Yep.
Oh my God,
Yep.
that's what it's. That's the insane part. You and PWG could do some really cool things, and it would be a dope step. Eventually, like you said, everybody would love to make a good enough living wrestling where they don't have to have a job anymore. The wrestling could be your main living, main source of income. But before you get there, going to PWG, going over to UK, what is it, ICW, the where Drew McIntyre made his comeback at. Fergal Devitt's wrestled over there.
Mhm.
Um, I'm a big fan of British strong style myself, so
Yeah,
you
man.
and me are right here, bro.
Yeah, bro. I know. I my favorite from over there, man, is it's A Kid. Man, just I resonated with A Kid literally the minute I saw him. The minute I saw him, man, just so good, so insane. It's so insane how good that guy is.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that I think would do really dope for you, and again, it's just I love people. I'm such a big fan of people who go and hone their craft everywhere instead of just sticking to one place. That's why I'm such a fan of Jericho. Dude, you in Japan could, whew,
Hey, man, I appreciate that.
that would be dope as
Un-
fuck.
like unfortunately, like I never watched as much Japan wrestling as my peers have, but from like the little I have seen, of course, I'm not ignorant to it.
Yeah.
I know Japan wrestling. I know what's going on over there. So yeah, going over there, it would be amazing. It would be awesome. So I would definitely love to go there. I appreciate you saying that you could see me over there. That
Oh
you have
yeah,
no idea. You have no idea how much how invigorating that is, man.
dude, the feud with you and Exotic, the little clips that are online that I could watch, I'm like, okay, I could I could see you absolutely adapting a strong style and just kicking the shit out of somebody in the face.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever watched Harley race, but that's how he
That's my
worked, and
guy.
that's
Yeah.
where I started. And even whenever I first started training full time, here in 2019, that's how I was trained. Lay your shit in. Fucking make contact. Hit. What's this old man saying?
He said, I will end my chat with this. Pac is going to do incredible things in professional wrestling and will know how nationally, and he will be known nationally. He is that talented and committed.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm still gonna kick your ass this weekend. And then also now that I'm training with Rodney, he's the same exact way. Like I used to do this like really I used to do this habit where I just open palm smack, the stomach area of my opponents. And then Rodney was like, dude, that looks like shit. Like it makes it sound like that looks like shit. You need to clean it up. And sure to know it, now it's just bam.
Yep.
So like I lay my shit in. That's how I was trained, that's how I work. So yeah, brother. I
I,
definitely appreciate that.
yeah, and I think going to Japan could definitely help that kind of tighten it up even more. Um, but we're at an hour, and I don't want to take too much more of your time. But so plug. I've got your Twitter and your Instagram on going down below. But let everybody know if you have a PWT's Pro Wrestling Tees page where we can get merch. If you're looking for merch, all of that stuff. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, man. So, the majority of my socials are very simple. They're all Pac Ortega Pro. Facebook is Pac Ortega. Instagram and Twitter, like you're plugging right now, is Pac Ortega Pro. I do have shirts at Pro Wrestling Tees. They are a little outdated. I am in the process of getting new shirts made. I'm also working on new merch in general being made. Like since, like I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge comic buff. So I'm getting comic book covers made for me instead of just regular 4x8s. Those are going to be comic book covers of my personal favorite covers, and there's going to be a place with me on them. So those I'm super super excited for that. And then what I'm most excited for is plushies. Pocket Taco plushies are coming in. Oh my god, I'm so excited for them, bro.
That's
um,
dope.
and then also where you can watch my work, just look me up on YouTube. You used to have to type in Pac Ortega wrestling and then get past the Pac stuff,
Yeah.
Pac and AEW. But now
Yeah.
since the Blood Hunter stuff took off, now just look up Pac Ortega and there I am. My channel's there. That's where you can see some of my work. I don't post. I post the matches on my page that the promotions I work for don't post on theirs. So not only will you find work on my page, you'll also find work on other people's pages. And then also I just recently launched a platform on TikTok. I'm vlogging. I know a lot of people. The one of the biggest questions I get asked is like, "What's a match day like for you?" So I started vlogging, just to kind of answer the question because each day is different. Each
Yeah.
day is different. If I'm working SWE, it starts at 3:30, ends at 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. If I'm working for AWP, it starts in the morning at the gym, and then I don't get home till midnight. So it's always different. So I vlog those adventures. I vlog everywhere I go, and then I'm also showcasing my combo collection on there. So just different ways to kind of get myself more known, a more intimate connection with the fans. And I believe that's it. And I also have a Facebook page, just Pop Ortega.
Yeah, man. Hey, brother, I appreciate you coming on the show again and taking the time to let the listeners know and the people who are watching know who you are, what you're about, where they can find you. I'm definitely excited to see where you go in the future. You got a fan in me for life. I'm good, bro. Like this is the greatest thing about what I love about independent wrestlers that I've had the honor to interview. You guys are all super like polite and on your game and respectful, very open, very honest, very blunt, which I love. But it's not, oh, I'm a wrestler and you're a fan, so you're a mark and I'm going to treat you like a mark. It's, hey, let's just have a conversation, right? So I really do appreciate you coming on and just being honest, just being open. Um, you
Oh
guys
man, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. You have no idea.
You guys follow this man on YouTube. I just subscribed to his channel myself. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Instagram. Wherever you can find Pac Ortega, find Pac Ortega. Go to his PWTs, buy some merch. And then when his plushies come out, buy your kids some merch.
Do it. It's
All right,
man.
guys.
If I don't take them all, man. If I don't take them all.
Hell yeah. So look, you guys, I love you for watching. You mean more to me than you guys will ever know. Thank you for the support. And remember, chaos is life, and life is chaos.